Right now, there is a slot machine within arm's reach of you. It costs you nothing. It never pays out. And it is quietly eating the most valuable decade of your life. You know the habit. Standing in line, you reach for it. Waiting at a red light, you reach for it. 3 seconds of silence in a conversation, and your hand is already moving. You call it checking your phone. Scientists call it something else, the cheapest dopamine on earth. But here is what nobody tells you. The problem is not that scrolling is bad. The problem is that it is a counterfeit, a fake version of everything your brain actually needs, sold at a price too good to refuse. And your 20s and 30s are quietly paying the bill. Start with the machine inside your head. Deep in your brain sits a system older than language, built for one purpose: reward effort. Find food, feel good. Build shelter, feel good. Win a friend, feel good. The chemical behind that feeling is dopamine, and for millions of years it had a single job: make hard things worth doing. A psychiatrist named Lembke, who runs the addiction clinic at Stanford, describes this system as a balance. Pleasure sits on one side, pain sits on the other. Press down hard on the pleasure side, and your brain pushes back on the pain side to level itself out. That is why the third hour of scrolling feels worse than the first. That is why you end a binge feeling emptier than when you started. The balance always settles, and with enough repetition, Lemke found, your baseline itself drops. You now need the stimulation just to feel normal. An ordinary afternoon, a slow meal, a quiet walk. They start to feel like static, not because your life got worse, because your brain raised the price of feeling okay. Be honest. When did a normal afternoon last feel like enough? Now look at the delivery system. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner put pigeons in a box with a lever. When the lever gave food every time, the pigeons pressed it calmly, only when hungry. But when the reward came at random, sometimes yes, sometimes no, the pigeons changed. They pressed frantically, endlessly, long past the point of needing food. Skinner had discovered the variable reward, the most habit-forming pattern known to psychology. Casinos built an industry on it. It is called a slot machine, and every single pull to refresh on your phone runs the exact same code. Sometimes the feed gives you something amazing. Usually it gives you nothing. Your brain cannot tell the difference between that and a casino floor, so you keep pulling the lever. Here is where it gets expensive, because the habit does not just take your time, it replaces the real thing with a cheap copy in every part of your life. Your brain craves connection, so the machine sells you likes and follower counts instead of a friend who shows up when things fall apart. Your brain craves achievement, so the machine sells you streaks and levels and other people's highlights instead of a skill that compounds. Your brain craves rest, so the machine sells you 2 more hours of scrolling that somehow leave you more tired than before. Every craving gets answered. Nothing gets fed. It is a diet of pictures of food, and you can measure the damage. A psychologist named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent decades beeping people at random moments and asking how they actually felt. The results were uncomfortable. People reported some of their worst moods during passive leisure: the couch, the screen, the scroll, the exact activities they chose to feel better. Their best moments came during something he named flow, a hard task, a real skill, full attention. The thing that felt like work filled them up. The thing that felt like rest drained them. You have felt both. You know exactly which one your evenings are made of. So why does this ruin your 20s and 30s specifically? One word: compounding. These are the years when an hour invested multiplies for decades. The skill you start at 25 becomes a career at 35. The friendships you water now become the people at your table at 50. The habits you set in these years harden into defaults your brain runs for the rest of your life. Now run the numbers. The average person spends over 3 hours a day on their phone. That is more than 1,000 hours a year. About 1,000 hours is what it takes to get genuinely good at almost anything: a language, an instrument, a business, a body, which means the machine is not eating minutes. It is eating one mastered skill per year, one version of you per year, canceled before it ever existed. What could you already be by now? The worst part is that you blame yourself. You call it laziness. You call it weak discipline. But you are a pigeon in a box built by the smartest engineers alive, pressing a lever tuned by $1 billion of research. Willpower was never going to win this. So stop fighting the machine and start making the machine expensive again. Friction is the whole game. A researcher named Adrian Ward at the University of Texas found that the mere presence of your phone, face down, switched off, drains your ability to think. Your brain spends energy just resisting it. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Distance. The phone charges in another room. Not because you are strong, but because 20 steps is a price your lazy brain refuses to pay. Then flip the trade. Make the cheap thing costly and the costly thing cheap. Delete the app so you must use the browser. Log out every time and put the real rewards within arm's reach instead. The book on the pillow, the guitar on the stand, the running shoes by the door. You are not quitting dopamine. You are switching suppliers and expect the withdrawal. Lembke tells her patients it takes about 4 weeks for the balance to reset. The first week, ordinary life feels unbearably slow. Then quietly, the static clears. Food tastes like something. Walks become interesting. Boredom stops being an emergency and becomes what it always was. The doorway where every good idea you have ever had was standing, waiting for you to look up. There is still a slot machine within arm's reach of you. There always will be. But now you know the game is rigged and you know the real price of a free pull. It was never costing you nothing. The cheapest habit in your life is the most expensive thing you own. Your 20s and 30s are not the jackpot you are waiting for. They are the coins in your hand. Stop feeding them to the machine.